If you're a teenager like me, there's a good chance you spend an excessive amount of time on social media scrolling your life away. After all, you're doing it right now. We all know the feeling. You lay down to relax a little bit and enjoy some time on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, whatever you like. And then all of a sudden, that short relaxation turns into hour after hour. The feeling like you just can't stop sinks in, and that homework assignment that's due tomorrow looks a lot more daunting than it did before. All jokes aside, what's the big deal, right? I mean, you may have got a little carried away, but how bad could a couple hours on social media be? With over 95% of teens on social media nowadays, everyone else is doing it, so why should you care? Well, I, with the support of many experts and their research, will be the first to tell you that it's time to start thinking about how social media is affecting your mental health. Let's talk about it.
Social media use among adolescents is associated with mental health harms.
The origins of this issue aren't as clear as you'd think. It's one that's significantly developed over time. As social media platforms became more popular, they developed their algorithms to maximize your engagement as much as possible. In simple terms, social media is designed purposely to be addictive. And it works. Recent research has shown that teens are spending an average of 4.8 hours every single day online. More time on social media means more exposure to the features of these platforms that could possibly cause harm. Experts like Dr. Claude Mellons have spoken out against the social media you're using every day, saying, and I quote, "Although there are important benefits, social media can also provide platforms for bullying and exclusion, unrealistic expectation about body image and sources of popularity, normalization of risk-taking behaviors, and can be detrimental to mental health." Many different forms of government have even tried to take legal action against social media companies, attributing the youth mental health crisis to their platforms. So now that you have some context behind this issue, I want to introduce the first of the three main causes of mental harm that can be linked back to social media use: unrealistic comparison. Humans have long been comparing themselves to each other. It's an evolutionary trait that has helped us survive since the beginning of time. But in the age of social media, where billions of people are accessible by the click of a button, the ability to compare ourselves to others has increased significantly. The issue with this is that much of what you see on social media is edited to make it look a lot more appealing than it actually is. It's fake. And even if you don't realize it, this can create unrealistic standards in the minds of many teens. The possible result of this is many mental struggles like low self-esteem, perfectionism, and just an overall dissatisfaction with life. Proof for this can be found in a study conducted by psychology professionals from both Rutgers University and Pennsylvania State University, who aim to discover how social media platforms are affecting the self-esteem of youths. This study found that those who use social media were more likely to have higher rates of body shame. They also found that the more participants interacted with appearance-focused content, like an influencer working out or putting on makeup, the more likely that person was to have a lower self-esteem and body confidence. This suggests that the more we as teens see people on social media who seem to be doing so well, even when in reality they're not, the more likely we are to feel guilty and self-conscious about our own appearance and lifestyles. But this is just the first example of a feature of social media that could cause mental harm, and an arguably even more alarming one exists in the form of cyberbullying. Cyberbullying is one of the biggest issues we face as a society in the digital age. There's a good chance that as a teen, you've either experienced or witnessed cyberbullying at some point in your life. And I'm not just saying that to make a point. A study from 2024 found that almost half of teens in the United States have experienced cyberbullying at some point in their lives. What makes cyberbullying different from regular bullying is that people often don't see the impact their actions have. This can make spreading hate much easier. Social media accounts can also be completely anonymous, which makes punishing cyberbullying very difficult. In a review posted in 2022, Gary Gimetti and Robin Kowalski brought together the results of numerous studies to show how cyberbullying affects the well-being of those on the receiving end of it. They found that the people who had been victims of cyberbullying had increased levels of psychological distress, increased depressive symptoms and anxiety, reduced life satisfaction, and were even at a higher risk of committing suicide. They also found issues like victims of cyberbullying having a more negative view on the school environment. Both of these statistics back up that cyberbullying is a genuine issue affecting and doing real harm to real people. There's also this stigma that you could just turn off your phone if you're getting cyberbullied, or you could even just block the person. But those who suggest this don't realize that even if you prevent a cyberbully from making more harmful comments, what has been said has been said. These words can be hard to forget for some and might stick with them for a lasting period of time, which could lead to mental struggles. Even if it doesn't seem like it, cyberbullying can be very hard to escape, and it's something that needs to be addressed urgently. The final cause of mental harm from social media that I will be discussing, and arguably the most overlooked one, is sleep deprivation. According to Columbia University's Department of Psychiatry, and I quote, "It is now recognized that sleep problems can also contribute to the onset and worsening of different mental health problems, including depression, anxiety, and even suicidal ideation." So now it's established that sleep is essential to mental health. But how does this relate to social media? Well, social media can cause sleep deprivation through a few different ways. The first of these is blue light exposure before going to sleep. According to Harvard Medical School, blue light exposure before going to bedtime disrupts the body's creation of melatonin, the hormone that tells your body to fall asleep. As a teen, it's pretty common to want to get caught up on social media before falling asleep, but it's easy to see how this could become problematic and lead to lower quality and duration of sleep. Sleep deprivation can also be caused by the addictive nature of social media itself. In 2020, Dr. Christine Cherney explained how the human brain releases dopamine, the chemical messenger that is associated with pleasure when scrolling through social media. This can make it very difficult to stop because your brain literally thinks it's doing a rewarding activity. If this dopamine spike were to happen right before bed, it would make it very challenging to get off the platform and go to sleep. This could lead to endless hours of scrolling at times when teens should be sleeping, which in turn causes a much higher risk of mental struggle. Sleep is essential to the human mind. We literally can't function without it, but social media is disrupting this important process in the lives of many teens. While social media does have some benefits, the claims that it isn't doing anything to the mental health of teens aren't convincing. In an article titled "Let's Stop Shaming Teens About Social Media Use," Candace Odgers and Jillian Hayes argue that there isn't enough research to show that social media can cause mental harm to the mental health of teens. To back up their stance, they point to the fact that the research that has found a correlation between social media and negative mental health effects, that correlation is only small. But I believe this argument is pretty flawed. Even if social media is affecting the mental health of teens only a small amount, is that not something to be concerned about? The fact that we see any correlation in something so widespread and rooted in the lives of teens should be enough to think twice about it. And the argument that there's just not enough evidence to prove the correlation between social media and negative mental health issues just is wrong. It seems to ignore the fact that there is research to show the correlation between these two, some of which I have mentioned in this video. There's also point to the positives that social media can bring to back up their claim that it's not affecting the mental health of teens. But this is just illogical. Even if social media has shown positive benefits in some, this doesn't change the fact that research like that done by mental health experts from online therapy highlights more alarming statistics, with nearly 50% of young adults claiming to have been negatively harmed because of social media. While these authors do make great points worth noting, I'm just not convinced by their overall argument. Now that the causes of mental harm from social media have been addressed, it's time to talk about possible solutions. And the good news is, there's quite a few of them. One of the best possible solutions would be for different forms of government to step up and take action by passing laws that restrict social media's power to harm teens. An example for this can be found in a New York state law that makes it possible to be charged with cyber harassment. Other laws could include banning social media companies from collecting certain data from minors, or even making mandatory screen times for people under a certain age. Another step that could be taken to help limit and solve this issue would be social media companies themselves prioritizing their users' well-being over making money. This might look something like reminding users to take a break after being on the application for a certain amount of time. Some have even suggested implementing digital literacy programs that would help teens understand the dangers of social media. There's also personal things that teens can do to help limit social media's effect on their minds. This might look something like downloading an app that enables you to set screen times for yourself, or even unfollowing accounts that show unhealthy content. For doing these things, the hope is that you and other teens alike will be able to enjoy the good things that social media can offer without having to worry about what it's doing to your mental health. Social media very well could be affecting your mental health negatively, and I hope that the information in this video helped you see that. To summarize, things like unrealistic comparison, cyberbullying, and sleep deprivation are all factors that can lead to depression, anxiety, and even as far as suicidal actions or thoughts. I don't think how important this issue is can be stressed enough. This is a problem that plays into the future of our planet as a whole, with billions of minds vulnerable to the threats that social media presents. Solving this will take time and a lot of resources, but the people that will be helped and the result that it will bring will make it more than worth it. It's time we as a society step up, look into solutions for this issue, and start holding social media companies accountable for the damage that they are causing.